Well, hello there,
Welcome to This Walking
and
Life.
welcome to
Today we're in
This
Melbourne,
Walking Life. There
Australia.
we go. It's just video's just clicked over. This
And
Walking
today
Life.
we're starting from the
I am the
home
bloke who walks, and
of the mighty Richmond Football Club.
I'm tweaking my video titles at the moment after watching another tip video.
We're
So if
starting
you've
at
clicked onto
Richmond train
something called
station.
New YouTuber Secret Strategies
And we're
Exposed
walking from Richmond
Unlocking the
train
Truth or
station
something like
to the
that,
home of the Australian
well, you've come to the right
Open
place, because I'm definitely revealing my own personal secret strategies through these directors' commentaries. And if you've never been to this
and
channel
giving a
before,
preview
if you've
of the
never
Australian
watched
Open
and
Grand
listened to a
Slam
director's commentary
2021.
before for these videos,
Let's
well, I
go.
hope you enjoy it, because this video is a bit of a milestone. Past a couple of milestones this week. This video itself is a milestone, and before I forget why it's a milestone, I'm going to comment. This is the first full-length video where I've experimented with changing up the opening. I felt that this video didn't need 2 to 5 minutes of footage of me walking through the underground pass to the outside of Richmond Station. I am starting to believe that the quicker I get to the part of the video that's most interesting, that people want to see, which is walking from Richmond Station. We all know what the inside of a train station
Outside Melbourne
subway
Park,
looks
Laver
like. So
Arena. And
this is the
walking into the
first
centre of
full-length
Melbourne
video where I've
public
actually
transport.
really made an effort, gone to town with the edit, and I sped it up. And also walking from the station to this first signpost that we're heading into Melbourne Park, I figured, well, that's what you're clicking on. Like you want to get there fast, and there's some. I had a lot of luck this particular morning that I was filming. This is peak hour during stage 4 restrictions lockdown. It was one of the first days I was allowed to. We were all allowed to leave the 5-kilometre travel restriction imposed on us, that we couldn't travel further than 5 k's from our homes. And this particular, everything was just a nice happenstance that I just happened to get to the tram stop just as it pulled up. I then hung around for 20 or 30 seconds to film the traffic, and then another one rolled up almost straight behind it. And it was my intention, it's always been my intention with these full-length videos, which are anywhere between 90 minutes to 2 hours 20 long, that I determined that whatever happens in front of the camera, I will just leave untouched. But I suppose as it begins to dawn on me that people probably with short attention spans, also the video quality of this channel at the moment, I'm using a high definition handheld Olympus camera. And while it does the job, I'm really happy with it. It's really convenient to film with, but obviously being handheld, I've really got to concentrate on holding it still while I'm walking. I've chosen not to use any type of stabilization technology within the editing software that I'm using, because it just takes far too long to render. And so this video, the first one where I decided, no, I'm going to, although I started on the train platform, which was fully intentional, but I decided, no, let's get to the guts of it quickly, which is people want to see the walk from the station, but let's start as quick as we can. So I cut it right down from, it was about nearly 6 to 7 minutes long originally, and then I cut it down to 3 minutes, and then I thought, no, I'd better really hack into it. There's a lot of milestones about this video. It's also the first full-length video where I've put my title credits at the start rather than the end. It's also the first full-length video where I've decided to use a micro teaser introduction. I've been experimenting with creating micro teasers of 45 seconds maximum length. And I've decided to use those micro teasers as bonus content, but also to give a preview of the scenery that this video will be portraying. throughout. So the micro teaser does take quite a while to edit down and process and choose the footage and get the timing down right. And it's sort of moving away from my intended modus operandi, which is to have these videos edited and processed and published super quick, which up until now has been just throwing the files into the editing software, just linking them up, making sure it's fairly decent, and then publishing it. So although I'm not chasing stats, I am realising that I'm getting a lot of views where people click out pretty quick, and that's fair enough, because I think the other thing, you've got to accept that early days, I think you've got to accept that people are going to click out. This, as far as I can tell, this walking video content that I'm creating has a totally different personality to the walking video channels that I've come across so far, which are very, very stable Steadicam type footage, very professional audio. I had to do a lot of work on this footage because it was quite windy on this morning that I filmed. This is around about maybe 6:30 to 6:45 in the morning. It looks busy, but it's not actually. I was a bit surprised how many cars are around, but this if there wasn't a pandemic on, you wouldn't be seeing all these people walking their dogs or going for a jog or riding their bikes. No one knows. In an ideal world, you wouldn't be seeing a bloke in his middle age with grey hair walking up Swan Street towards Laver areana with a camera. But there you go. So another milestone I want to touch on before I forget is that I just had a quick listen to my director's commentary video, the most recent one, and in it I was saying that the channel was only 35 to 36 days old, and already it had six and a half hours of watch time. Now this channel is now about 44 to 45 days old, maybe 46 days old, and I've already hit over 10 hours, which to me is just incredible. So I want to thank you if you're a returning viewer to this channel, and you're one of the people who've watched for longer than a couple of minutes. And I've had some of these videos, especially in the last 4 to 5 days, some people have been watching 20 minutes, 12 minutes, which is, that's exactly what I want. I don't want watch time increasing. I want people engaging with this content, seeing value in it. And it's early days, so I'm not too worried that I'm getting a lot of viewers who are clicking out, in under 10 seconds, or even I've had people are clicking out at 0.01 seconds, which is fine. That's fine by me, because it's still such early days, and this content is going to take a long time to find its audience, but it's got its own personality already, and a lot of it's to do with the creative choices I've made, and I cover these in the early director's commentaries, why I've chosen this filming technique, why I've steadfastly stuck to the handheld aspect, why I'm not too bothered about the audio. It was very windy this morning, so I had to do a lot of work on this footage to reduce the buffeting of the wind into the internal camera in this handheld digital camera. I just want to run through these milestones quickly before they drop out of my head. The big milestone achieved this past week was that I've hit my goal of uploading 50 videos. So that's been a huge thing to tick off for me personally, because I came across that tip in a video from a bloke in Colorado, Brian Johnson. I'll give a shout out to him because I'm finding his videos quite helpful. he was saying, just concentrate on getting content up there. That was always my intention, to just film, edit, publish, distribute, and that was it. I haven't been doing any promoting of this channel. I haven't been doing any cross-linking on social media except for the basics on my LinkedIn. I haven't been promoting through commenting on other YouTuber channels. I've really just concentrated on getting into a routine, working 6 to 5.5 days a week, doing nothing but filming, editing, publishing and uploading. The most extracurricular activity I've undertaken is tweaking my thumbnails, and now I started a couple of weeks ago tweaking the keywords in for the titles a bit more, and then even today I've found that there's some other improvements I could possibly try, so there'll be further tweaking there. There might be things in the background you can hear. I've got some new neighbours across the driveway with a little Shih Tzu, a little terrier dog who barks far too much for his own good. You probably won't be able to hear my aviary that I've got in the laundry. I've got six birds out the back, a canary, 3 or 4 finches, and I think the dog's being attended to now. No, she's gonna make it bark more because they've got their blinds open. You see, it's about 5:45. It's been a pretty overcast day. I've got another neighbour taking out the bins, and so I'll just pause here. Okay, so we're back. The other sound that I'll hear, I'm pretty sure it won't come through this microphone, which is the thunderstorm that's been threatening for the last 2 or 3 hours. Anyway, so just a bit of a location check where the commentary is with the video. I've just reached the top of the ramp, getting up to the east side of Melbourne Arena, and there's a pedestrian overpass. That's brand new. That's only come in the last 18 months. That pedestrian overpass that goes from the north side of Swan Street across the other side where the football soccer stadium is, which was a good addition actually. And then the camera's just looking out to the southwest across to the old Olympic Park venue where the 1956 Olympic Games track and field was held, and that used to be a greyhound racing track until about maybe 10 years ago, and they dug up the athletics track, got rid of it, and now it's just a plain old football oval. Next to the old 1956 Olympic swimming pool, which is now an indoor training facility for the Collingwood Football Club in the Australian rules football competition here in Melbourne. So lots of changes. Change is a constant in Melbourne these days, that's for sure. Now the other milestone, I think I've touched on all of them. Watch hours, 50 videos uploaded. The click-through rate not quite hitting 2% yet, but mostly around 1.6 to 1.7%. Not too worried about that at the moment, really. It's early days. Like, I'm only a month and a half into this new channel and this new content. It's going to take a while to find its audience, but the main thing is I'm enjoying doing it, and I think that's what matters. I'm enjoying the filming. I'm enjoying the whole process, except as an individual, I'm struggling with, I suppose you would say, a grounded disposition, because I guess we put pressure on ourselves, don't we? Like, I just am a bit frustrated by my current technology. My laptop's about 5.5 years old. It's got to be replaced.
Thanks for
It
watching
doesn't
this special
process the
Australian Open
editing software very fast.
brought to you
The editing
by
software has to be hooked up
This
to the
Walking Life.
internet,
Stay tuned
so
for the director's commentary for
which
this
I
video,
didn't know that
and
when
I'll
I
point
bought
out
it. But
all the
I only
landmarks,
got good words to say about it, to be
all the
honest.
places that you need to know
And
to get on
yeah, I
foot
just get a bit
from
frustrated
the
because
centre of
I
Melbourne
can see
to your
everything I can
Grand
see in
Slam
my head.
tournament
It
seat
just takes
at
ages
Melbourne
to do.
Park
Like sometimes it takes me
in whatever
a
year you choose to
ridiculous
come.
amount of time just to do one video, like a day or over a day,
Bye
especially
for
when I'm
now.
trying to
See
create
you in the
these
next video.
teasers. But I've got to say, the great thing about this experience is that I really hadn't thought about at all is that it's costing me nothing but time. I'm dedicating everything I've got to pumping out this content. Generally working 5.5 to 6 days a week. I'm taking Sundays off, not touching the laptop at all, except just to watch a movie online. I'm really happy with the quality of the content. I'm gradually adding bells and whistles to it as I go. Say for instance, this video was the first or the second one. It was the second video where I included street names and tram numbers, a subscribe button. So just those little extra things. Other improvements I've got to make is at the moment I've got pretty poor quality content in the description of the video. So I realise that that's a factor. Like I know myself, I like to read what the video content is in text that accompanies the video within that text box. So that's something I've got to work on. But the thumbnails, I'm happy with those. There's a bit more tweaking there, but anyway, so what I want to do with this video is, if I think of any other milestones, and there has been a lot. Oh, so another milestone is that as of the 24th of November 2020, I'm changing my publishing schedule from daily to twice weekly. So instead of publishing every day at 5:30 in the morning, it'll be Mondays and Thursdays at 5:30 in the morning. I'm tossing up, I haven't decided whether to change publication of the director's commentaries from Saturday mornings to Wednesday mornings. And I've got a similar sort of decision to make about bonus content. Do I publish bonus content when it's available during the week, or do I continue publishing on Sundays? So that's all to play out. Like we're not playing for sheep stations. It's really just keep a routine, keep consistent. It's quite likely there's the thunder. You probably can't hear it. Keep it consistent. I'd say that I'll probably publish only during weekday mornings. And the reason I've chosen 5:30 is to take advantage of Australian viewers on the East Coast. There's no reason why that has to remain 5:30 in the morning. It's just, again, going back to Brian Johnson, he was publishing 4 a.m. in the morning in Colorado to make sure that he caught viewers on the East Coast in New York and Boston, so to speak. So I thought, well, that sounds good enough for me. Anyway, so as far as milestones go, so this video is the third. Is it the third? I think it is. Yeah, it's the third. The common catch cry of YouTube people who successfully got into these ridiculous numbers of views and subscribers, and they're the ones who are pumping out all these tip videos. The common catch cry is to find your niche and dominate it. So I've found my niche in this particular channel, walking video content, and how I want to dominate it is not purely by the quality of the video being perfectly stable, or audio, or being perfectly 10 minutes in length or an hour. Like, I've deliberately decided in my niche that I'm going to offer content, and it's going to be different lengths. So what I mean by that is there'll be one video that covers a destination. So say for example, this is obviously Richmond Station to Laver Arena, but how I intend to dominate my niche of walking video content is to present series, like themed series of video content that may or may not be obvious, to the subscribers or the viewers, but how I intend to build up this channel is to follow some advice that I heard nearly 20 years ago when I first started exploring freelance writing. And this bloke, his catchcry was, I heard him speak at a conference in Sydney that I attended in 2001, 2002, and he said, the key to being a successful freelancer is to create something once and sell it many times. And that was back in the day. The internet was around, but there was still, and there still are, people freelancing for different outlets, media outlets. But back then, 20 years ago, much more common. Technology and internet much less widespread. And I can see that on the video, we're just getting up to the grand reveal of poking the camera through the garden of the canna lilies and looking through those tips of the flowers, the garden bed of canna lilies, through Grandslam Oval and through to Laver Arena, dead set in front of us, with the Eureka Tower on the far left of frame, and the ANZ Towers and the Sofitel on the far right of frame. And what I was trying to do with that shot, I'll just briefly explain. There was a reason for that. I wasn't trying to be clever. What I'm trying to do with these videos, walking to Laver Arena, I'm trying to give the viewer that experience of what is it like. Imagine that you've been a tennis fan your whole life and all you want to do is travel to Australia and watch a live match at Laver Arena, centre court. You want to watch the top players in the world, and you've been trying for decades or saving for years, and it's your first trip to Australia, your first trip to Melbourne, and the only reason you're here, you want to watch top level, elite level tennis. And that feeling of anticipation that you get when you're walking and you just can't get there fast enough, and you're taking everything in, and probably maybe you're not, and it's all these weird sights and sounds and smells, and the sunlight looks different. If I can give you an example, it's just come to my mind. I was backpacking in 97, 98, and I fortuitously landed in Barcelona, just on the cusp of the Grand Prix there, and I can remember that feeling so well. Of I went to the practice actually because it was cheaper. Because like, hey, I was a backpacker, right? And just that anticipation of, like, you had to travel on the Barcelona metro and you had to walk from a certain place to a certain place, and then all of a sudden I was surrounded by what seemed to be a huge contingent of German Grand Prix fans who were there to follow Schumacher, and just that anticipation and excitement. And that's what I'm trying to achieve, by framing the shot that way. Just trying to make it look interesting. Because the other thing about this video was, my usual technique is to weave from left to right of the footpath or the road. And I didn't have much opportunity with this video because I was really just could only go in one direction. Then I decided to, weave left and right, backwards and forwards across the oval rather than walk straight there, because I figured, well, I'm pretty sure that for a long time, it's going to be a long time before people watch these from start to finish. And I figure, if the viewer doesn't like this taking too long, like, they'll just skip forward. And you might not even be hearing me say these words. You might have skipped forward already. So, but I just want to give the viewer the option that you can just stay with the camera as it just slowly meanders its way forward. Do you ever click on the fast forward option for YouTube videos? You can actually speed this up 2 times the speed, 2 times the normal speed. There's that way as well. So I just want to give the viewer options. So it's not just me aimlessly walking around trying to fill up time to make the longest video possible, to get the longest, highest amount of watch time. That'd be great. But no, I'm a realist and I'm pragmatic about it. But this is how it looks. Although I've got to be honest. So this used to be, all this area used to be open park and open parks and gardens until the mid '80s, the late '80s, when the government decided to use this public land for the purpose of having a brand new place to play the Australian Grand Slam. And all the footy ovals, obviously you can see they've all disappeared along this way, and this was the last one. This space was the last footy oval, and what they do is they just cover the whole oval with marquees and live music stages and activation areas for for shampoo brands and deodorant brands. And you won't get this view when you come to the Australian Open. There won't be all this blue sky. It'll be covered with corporate propaganda. So there's some value already. Actually, you're getting to see a side of the area. And don't forget, this is filmed during strict stage 4 lockdown during the pandemic. So it's all very very unique. And there's just been an edit there. I've just stopped in the oval. The camera that I use takes 10 minutes of footage and then I have to restart, and I found that a very helpful thing for me, because it helps me stay in the moment, stay present, and make sure I'm concentrating on what I'm doing, and I'm checking the time quite a bit. So I'm quite happy with yes, I can see the frames moving around, but don't you think it makes it dynamic? And then I was thinking the other week that news footage on TV. One of my pet hates at the moment. Every single commercial and government news service on mainstream TV these days, the camera is always moving around the reporter as they're talking, and it drives me bonkers. And they're waving their hands around and flapping their arms, and I just wish they'd stay still. So when I think about YouTube, and when I think about tip videos where they say, oh, you've got to have the camera stable, and oh, you've got to have stabilization, oh, you've got to have a gimbal, well, you know what? Actually, you don't, because think of any of your favorite action movies, especially the Marvel ones. Does the camera stay still? No, it doesn't. No, it does not. So why does a YouTube camera have to be stable? Because we're all consumers of this sort of shaky, moving image content. Now here I am. I was just trying to think of different ways to introduce and get to the space. And I hit upon this idea in the moment, as I do. I only thought of this as I got there. I thought, oh, well, I'll just start at the statue again. I mean, I've filmed it already, but I'll just film it again. I was there the previous night and at sunset, so I thought I'll get the morning light. I love the way this camera captures the sunlight, especially looking into the sun. I really like it. Whether the viewer likes it, I don't know, but I've decided to make it a feature of all the teasers for this channel content. And I just meandered backwards and forwards up the little slope there rather than going up the steps. And I just think it's little things like this which are going to build the character and the personality of this channel content. But gradually, people, I'm getting people coming back for 2.5 views at a time at the moment. And I'm figuring, well, that's got to be good, because people are starting to get used to the style of the presentation of the content. I think I'm a big believer in the filming style. Even down to the credits and the subtitles and just the way you introduce the content. That's the style and the personality. It's all about self-expression, isn't it? When it comes to YouTube, because
all the landmarks
You know, when you think of
all the
YouTube, you
places
think
that you
of
need
people,
to
you know,
to get
talking directly to
onto
the
it
camera,
from
sitting
the
in their
centre of
room for 10
Melbourne
minutes, having a good old
to
chat
your
to the
Grand
camera,
Slam tournament
as if
seat
they're having an
at Melbourne
eye-to-eye
Park.
conversation with the viewer.
In whatever you choose to come.
But for this sort of walking video content where,
Bye for now. We'll see you in the next
you know,
video.
I'm not doing that. All I'm doing is introducing the content in a 30-second, hopefully 20-second chat to camera at the start, and then just into it. So the self-expression of the creation of this content for me comes through the filming style, how I choose to capture and frame what I see in front of me. And I didn't really. I'm not going to confess to know what I was doing when I first filmed this statue the night before, but what I came to realise, the handheld aspect comes in very, very handy and dynamic in the editing when you speed up the footage to 2 or 3 times. Well, it just looks like the thing's moving. The statue comes to life to me, and then the handheld aspect becomes, for me, a huge asset, and dare I say it, a competitive advantage. Because if you think about all the YouTube creators that have got the latest camera, the latest audio, they film everything very, very carefully, and they edit it down so they're only showing exactly what they think viewers want, but viewers aren't getting a choice. And I feel like, for me, choosing to film like this, which is an uninterrupted, sometimes 2 hours 20 is the longest I've published a video, walking video comment. Well, I'm giving you the choice to either watch it all or not watch it all, and then I can put it all up there, and then you can choose what to watch. Now, that brings me on to my the second part of that, my channel strategy is that by filming 90 to 2 hours at a time, it gives me the chance to chop that up into smaller segments. And I mentioned this in the last video, so apologies if I'm repeating myself for you. But I'm just going to check the recording, the audio recording, and we're going all right. We're 30 minutes into it, and this is one of the longer videos, and I'll make no apologies for that because it's all intentional. But the reason it's intentional is another strategy for this channel is, and it goes back to that tip I got at the conference in Sydney 20 years ago: create something once and sell it many times. So with this content, film it once and publish it many times. So, there's a strategy of, chopping it up into smaller segments. So Richmond Station to Melbourne Arena, another one, Melbourne Arena to Rod Laver Arena, Rod Laver Arena to Swan Street Bridge, walking across the Swan Street Bridge backwards actually. If you haven't watched that one, I actually put it into reverse, walking backwards across the bridge, and all the traffic's going backwards and all the people are walking backwards, but you don't notice it unless you stick with it, because the traffic only comes at the end of that video, and it's already up there, so have a look, see what you think. And I did that deliberately to see, just to see if viewers were awake and they were actually watching and taking it in, or whether they were judging it too quickly and saying, oh, this is another boring walking video from Melbourne. Swan Street Bridge to the Alexandra Gardens, the Rod Laver Arena to Federation Square. So you can see that out of one session of 2-hour filming, I've virtually almost tripled the content, which means hopefully I'll get triple the views and almost 10 times the watch time eventually. That's the idea. And then, of course, there's this director's commentary. So although I'd been to Rod Laver before on a separate night when I filmed at sunset, walking from the Arts Centre to Rod Laver Arena. And I was sort of conscious of, well, I've already filmed this, but I decided not to let it get to me, because I figured, this is different in that I'm filming at sunrise. It's in the morning. It's about 7:45 in the morning. I figured, it was Monday morning, that's right. And I figured, well, and although I really strongly dislike, I don't want to use the word hate, but I strongly dislike this new entrance. This is new, only finished in the last year, where they've taken away the old south side entrance, which I loved because there was those huge bank of steps, and they've created this new eastern entrance. Well, look at the sun coming off the glass, and how can you not love that? So that reflection there, and just taking advantage of that. And so making things up as I was going along. Unfortunately, there's a lot of construction there. You can see on the north side of the new forecourt. Yeah, I wasn't too concerned. And then, as you'll see in the next couple of minutes, I decided to do a new intro as I was going, and I'm not too fussed. I decided to do that on the spur of the moment, and it made sense because I need different intros. Up until now, for my segment videos, I've been inserting brand new audio recorded inside rather than on site, and I wasn't really enjoying the audio quality of those insert audio recordings of the intros for the segments. So I decided to do that on the spot.
Thanks for watching this special Australian Open edition. Brought to you by
I think
Stay tuned for the director's
I think it was on the way to the station that morning on the train that I decided that I would keep filming, keep walking past
from the centre of Melbourne,
Rod Laver Arena once I got there, and continue on just to break up the content. So getting back to the strategy of this channel, yes, it's going to be walking video content is my niche, and I intend to dominate it. But I intend to dominate it by creating themed walks and destination walks. So Rod Laver Arena is a destination themed video, and then the sub-theme of that is the Australian Open 2021, being a series that I can create playlists, and this is the third in the series. There's one more to come, which I haven't even started editing yet, which is actually reverse. I only intended to do 3, but then I realised they're all one way, going from somewhere to Rod Laver, and then I thought, well, what about leaving Rod Laver? So the next one will be leaving Rod Laver Arena and heading up the hill past the MCG to Jollingwood Station, which is a pretty short walk, but there was a route that I intended to film, which I'd never actually personally walked before. So that was another attraction, and it was still stage 4 lockdown. So and to bring you up to date, Melbourne is now we're now 2 to 2.5 weeks out of stage 4 lockdown, which means we can. It's been gradual, and today we had some more gradual announcements where we've been told that we can stop wearing face masks outdoors, and we have to keep wearing them while we're indoors anywhere, at any indoor place, workplace, shopping centre, grocery shopping, cinemas, pubs. I'll keep with the face mask because this little bit here I can take my time. We've just hit the Yarra. I've got to say that because sometimes when I'm editing, I don't know where the audio is up to that I'm watching. So, Sean, bloke who walks, if you're listening, in your edit, you've just put the camera down for the first time at the Swan Street Bridge looking at the Eureka Tower. That little audio landmark helps in your editing. And the face mask. So, yeah, it's a good sign. Like we're definitely all fatigued. We had 4.5 months of really hard lockdown. For 3.5 of those months, it was 5Ks travel restrictions around your home. You could only go grocery shopping. The 1 hour walk a day, a curfew at 8 o'clock at night. It was really a unique thing to live through. And the thing that makes me catch my breath every couple of days is still that you could be listening to me in India or Italy or the Arctic or the Antarctic or Greenland. You could be on a Navajo Nation reserve in Middle America, but we're all going through the same thing. And that is just the thing that just blows my mind again and again. So I say hello to everyone in the UK and Europe, and I'm so sorry that things have got out of hand there, and especially America. I feel so much for everyone in America and Canada, for all of you that were doing the right thing in Canada. It's just gone the opposite way to us. Like, we had 725 active case infections in June or July, and that's what drove us into our hard lockdown. And on the same day in Britain, there was 763 apparently, and look at where everything went after that. So I'm so grateful that we've got some really common sense political leadership here, and also, everyone that lives here has been towing the line. But it was Melbourne had the hardest and Victoria had the hardest out of the whole Australia for a while. We were really getting we were really earning our keep in terms of how the nation looked at us. Now, I'm going to interrupt myself in that at this particular point, I've put the camera down for the second time I've done it in other videos where I just put the camera down because I figure, why not? Why not put the camera down and just take in the view and what's going on around, to and from, past the camera. Now, I tried something in the editing here which I think hasn't quite come off. I decided to use one of the effects, which is a slow zoom in, and I can see that it's just pixelated crap out of itself, so I won't be doing that again. But this just goes back to testing and tweaking, doesn't it? You don't know what's going to work until you try it, and so what? It's like it's only a few minutes of footage, and the viewer has the choice. If you don't like what you're seeing, well, obviously you're going to skip ahead or click out. So, no damage, no foul as far as I'm concerned. Now, I just want to make a comment here for our Sydney viewers, or anyone who likes to bag Melbourne weather or Melbourne scenery. Now, this view is from the Swan Street Bridge looking west up to the city, and have a look at that. We're well into summer. It was a pretty chilly morning this particular morning, but have a look at that. How would you like to cop that view every morning on your way to work? Melbourne has great views, and the trouble is that not many people know about the variety of different viewpoints around Melbourne, and that's another reason why I decided to keep recording this particular day, because local Melbourne people know that the Channel 9 News here commonly uses this viewpoint for their backdrops, for their broadcast during the day, when they're sort of, in between programs, those little 30-second, 40-second updates, backdrop behind the presenter, or, just behind the newsreader during the bulletin sometimes. But look at that. Look at the sunshine and the blue sky. Try not to look at the Yarra. Try not to look at the Yarra, the river that floats upside down. I'll give you that, for anyone in Sydney or anyone that is making a negative comment about the Yarra and how it compares or doesn't compare in any way, shape or form to Sydney Harbour. I'll give you that. The river that floats upside down. It's not dirty. It's not polluted. It's just the way it is. So leave us alone, and you'll see the rowers. usually very well attended, the Yarra by the rowing crews, especially the school rowing that goes on. I'm just going to shift seat. The sky's going very dark here with the rain finally coming down. So this is another deliberate choice to put the camera down because I mean, why not? Is just my strategy. Like, why not put the camera down? Why not give the viewer the chance to enjoy that view, which is pretty unique to Melbourne, and then unique to the fact that this is a very strange time to be filming life anywhere around the world, not just Melbourne. And there's a few people. There's that bike path is getting extremely busy these days. Many people now ride into the city and ride out again. And you really have to watch yourself actually, because cyclists aren't big on letting you know unless they're unless they're looking out for their fellow man. But I'm not a big fan of bike paths. I'll tell you why in another commentary. So what does that bring me to? Well, I've covered the strategies. Oh yeah, so this is one of the strategies for this channel is themed. So obviously the main theme is walking video content, and that's the umbrella for this why this channel exists, walking video content around Melbourne. But then it's going to be destination video, because what I realised was if I can plug well-known titles of destinations into the title of the video, well, that's what people are going to be searching for. So Laver Arena, so the theme of the series is Australia. So the second theme of this channel will be themed by events and goings on. So Australian Open 2021 is the first event-themed series of content. I've decided not to. An obvious one would have been the cricket, but I've decided not to do that. Oh, just before I forget, so as of today, November the 22nd, 2020,
all the landmarks, all the places that
the
you
Australian
need to
Open for
know
next year,
to get
2021,
on
is still
from
up in the
the
air.
centre of Melbourne.
It's definitely
Your
going to go
grandslam
on,
tournament
that's for sure,
seat
because the
at
government,
Melbourne
the
Park,
state government and the federal government
in whatever year you choose to come.
are scared stiff about the ongoing economic
Bye for now.
effects
See you in the next video.
on like every single event, every single thing in Melbourne. Sporting, cultural, tourism, international education has been decimated this year. Like Melbourne this year has been unrecognisable from an events point of view. We had the Australian Open last year, and you may or may not know that the Australian Formula One Grand Prix was cancelled the night before it was due to run in 2020. And with just an audio landmark for the bloke who walks when he's doing the two blokes in the canoe have just gone past at 48-42. So they definitely want the Australian Open on, and I've got to admit I was happily surprised that the US Open went ahead so successfully. With I think there was only 3 elite level players had to pull out or got infected with COVID. The French Open, it was disappointing that Ash Barty chose not to go, but it's fair enough. And it was even more disappointing that Alex de Minaur got defeated in the first round. But it was good to see those events were pulled off safely. So there's no reason why the Australian Open can't run next year. But as of today, it looks like it may not be during the dates advertised. It might be pushed back into February. So we'll see. I've decided not to do the obvious candidate, which is the Australia-India Test cricket series. There's just no point because it's going to be completely closed off, just like, well, so after the Australian Formula One Grand Prix was cancelled in March this year, we lost our entire footy season. It went ahead, but all the teams played everywhere except for Melbourne, which is just, that really hurt. as a proud resident of Melbourne who's born and bred here, lives and breathes everything about Melbourne, but that really hurt to see all the footy, especially the grand final, played in Brisbane, the first time ever outside the state. That hurt a lot. And they even had bumper crowds there, socially distanced crowds. So that was hard to watch. And the the Melbourne Cup, the international racing event that we've had for 120 odd years, that went ahead in front of empty grandstands. All the golf was cancelled, all the local sport was cancelled, all the local events. So if the Indian cricket team is here, and they will play in Melbourne, but it'll be behind closed doors. We've just hit the Alexandra Gardens on the video here, and I apologise if you have tuned in to listen to me speak specifically about this landscape being filmed. I apologise, but I didn't mention this at the start of this particular video, but these directors' commentaries are actually specifically for me to verbalise what's in my head and see how this video's come out. So apologies if I'm not paying a huge amount of attention to what's actually on the screen that you're seeing. Well, that's the idea, is that I'm just verbalising a lot of things in my head, but hopefully you're getting a lot of value out of it as I explain to myself why I filmed in this particular fashion. So I'm going to give the cricket a miss, and it's highly unlikely there will be fireworks in Melbourne for New Year's Eve, but that's, no crowds, I don't think. So as far as another series of content goes, I've decided to film around Melbourne's university campuses for the international student audience. Actually, no, I'll go back to the events. The next event that I'm going to film will be the Australian Formula One Grand Prix, and I'm going to do a similar one to the way I've filmed this tennis series, is that I'm going to physically walk the 5.5 kilometres of the Albert Park Lake track where the Grand Prix is held, and around the surrounding area. I'm going to go into pit lane, so that'll be a series of 4 to 7 videos. I can easily see that, and then the surrounding area. So that gives me the chance to specifically reference the Grand Prix event in the title of the video, which means it's more searchable. So it's not just walking around content, but it's walking around a specific event content themed video. In March, around about the same time, will be the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. Now, I'm pretty confident this will go ahead because today there was a lot of announcements made about opening up of the economy and hospitality and live performance venues and cinemas and different things. So I'm pretty sure we're looking safe to have a comedy festival. It's just what shape does it take in. So that's my next 3 events: is the Australian Formula One Grand Prix, the Australian Open, and the International Comedy Festival. And that, rather than just walking aimlessly around Melbourne streets and saying, oh, I'm walking around Melbourne CBD, oh, I'm walking around Flinders Street train station, no. By targeting the content to events, I'm actually trying to hook into traffic, viewer traffic, and audience traffic that already exists. And I'm slowly starting to see search terms popping up in my analytics: Australian Open 2021. So I'm on the right track. So yes, it'll be seasonal. I guess you could say, as a criticism, yes, maybe that themed series will be seasonal, but then it's, Melbourne specific. Why are people looking for things in Melbourne? So that's about 3/4 of my strategy. And the other side of the strategy is the corporate side, the segmenting the audience by sector. And what I mean by that is this content will be aimed at the international student education sector and the tourism sector, which is pretty obvious, walking around Melbourne, tourism content. And the third one is, as I've just finished speaking about, the tourism sector. No, the live events sector. And then we'll get into cultural things, so things like the Melbourne Museum, the Melbourne Immigration Museum, the inside of the Arts Centre. And we're just coming up on the audio here where, as luck would have it, while I was filming, I like this walk. I do this walk often, and I wouldn't say many people walk from the centre of the city to Richmond train station. But it just happened to be, as I was passing through, there was a huge flock of ducks just poking around, and I set the camera down. Now, on my camera, I can't zoom while I'm filming, but what I did here in the software, I just put on the zoom and crop function in the editing software, and that's why it looks like I'm a lot closer than I actually was. And I was hoping they'd stop for a bit in front of the camera, but they didn't. They went past, which is fine. So this is another reason for putting down the camera. Here I actually held it and turned it up to the light, thinking I might be able to get a thumbnail, but no. What I've realised with thumbnails is that it's got to be really, the subject has to be really close to the camera, and it's taken me a little while to work that out. So I'm not short of ideas for content, as you can probably work out. We're nearly an hour into this content, and I've pretty much covered all the topics now that I want to cover. So that sort of brings me to the next step. It was about this time of filming this particular week and this particular video that I was becoming conscious that my videos were lacking one element that I'm sure makes other walking content videos popular, and that element is people. I mean, it's all very well, isn't it, filming, scenery, but we all like people watching, don't we? And let's face it, walking video content is largely about people watching. I've noticed, and even my own viewing habits, that especially for places overseas that I've never been to, we just like seeing a bit of activity and whatever catches your eye in the frame of the camera that's capturing whatever's going on. So I was starting to get a bit self-conscious in the back of my mind as I was getting into this, that there's not many people around. Although I nearly got cleaned up by that guy on the scooter. Thanks very much, mate, for the heads up. So, but I mean, the main reason there's a lot of walks around Melbourne. I don't have a car. I don't have a car, so a lot of my knowledge comes from years of pounding the pavement. And I've walked this way before. I've walked it at lunchtime when I've been employed in the corporate world for a day job, and I've walked home this way. But I really, really like this area, and it's so quiet. It's a nice place to walk during the day when you just want to get out of the office. But unfortunately, during a pandemic, except for the ducks, not much else is happening. It was probably, what time was it this time? It was probably getting on to 8:30, and I tend to overdress when I go out walking. I don't want to carry too much stuff, and the camera's quite small, but I was overheating a bit at this point because it was brisk. There wasn't much wind, but it was brisk, and I had I had a jacket with a hoodie on it, and even though it's fairly light, I also had a sleeveless. But I deliberately, you'll notice that I'm walking on the grass, I'm meandering and weaving backwards and forwards, and it's very deliberate because I figure, well, if I was to walk this particular section, and in front of us is St Kilda Road and the Arts Centre and Princess Bridge over the Yarra, if I was to just walk straight up the guts of this path between the trees, well, that strikes me as a bit boring. So why not add an element to it where, the viewer's watching this, alright, well, the camera's not perfectly still, it's shaking a bit more than I had planned as I'm holding it, but I'm probably getting a bit tired at this point, and I'm probably not concentrating on it. And my wrist, I noticed this particular morning was getting sore because I had the camera cocked, and I was perfectly level and perpendicular to the ground as I can in front of my hip. But I figure the viewer, instead of waving, manoeuvring, making the camera wander from left to right and walk in a perfect straight line, like, why not hold it slightly in front of my hip and then walk in a certain direction, left and right, so that although the viewer hasn't got the benefit of scenery in the periphery of their vision like I have while I'm walking and capturing this footage, that they can get a sense of, a 360, 270 degrees sense of what's surrounding the camera. Look, for me it works. If it doesn't work for you, please comment and leave some feedback. Maybe you want the camera to walk perfectly straight up the middle of this path. Now there was another edit there. Luckily, I've only been caught out once where my camera stops recording every 10 minutes or so. And I've only had to retrace my steps once, and luckily not too fast. So I'm always checking the time elapsed on the recording. Now, at this particular point, I was looking for views of the skyscrapers that might make a thumbnail. And I'm conscious of what makes a good thumbnail. For me, it is something hard up in the foreground and the extreme right of the frame works for me. And I don't stop while I'm filming to take a picture specifically for a thumbnail, because again it goes back to the strategy that I've set myself, and the rules of filming that I've set myself, is that once the camera's recording, once I'm moving, don't stop, don't pause. And for the editing, it's also preferable in the editing if they're just full 10-minute files rather than lots of little choppy edits. So I've tried that already in a previous full video when I walked from Blackburn Station to Mitcham Station. I tried that where I'd shoot a 5 to 7 second zoom into a particular viewpoint, and it was just too much hassle. For going across the bridge, I decided, by this stage I was actually getting tired because I hadn't had breakfast. That was the other thing, that I got straight out of bed, got dressed, had a shower, got on the train, and I decided to have breakfast in the city. Just that's a whole other story. I'll tell you that now, actually. I was so looking forward to breakfast. I've been having a run lately of sausage rolls for breakfast and a takeaway flat white. And I was so looking forward to it. And the great thing about this particular day when I filmed was it was about the second or third day of where you could travel further than, you could travel beyond your 5 kilometre restriction from your home. And I was really looking forward to having a couple of sausage rolls and a flat white. And I went to De Graves Lane. I was originally planning to finish this filming session at De Graves Lane, but I was too hungry. I had to finish at Federation Square. And but I went to the Graves Lane and I couldn't find a place with sausage rolls. And I went to a place in De Graves Lane that I never ever go to, and the poor bloke,
see you in the next video.
He had no staff because obviously, a lot of businesses have had to lay off staff or put them on government payments, because they can't. There's just no work for anyone. So he was open anyway, and what did I ask him for? It was a flat white. What did I ask him for? He didn't have any sausage rolls. He gave me a pie. That's right. He gave me a pie, and I was so hungry. I was feeling a bit grumpy, and he heated up the pie and he gave it to me in this huge, stupid Uber bag. I looked at him and I said, I don't want it in a bag. And he said, I haven't got anything smaller. And so I sulked off out the shop. I made sure he didn't see me sulking, but I walked out the shop, threw the Uber bag in the nearest bin I could find, as quick as you like. And I went to eat the pie, and it was stone cold. It was barely hot, and I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy at all. Now we're finishing up in a couple of seconds, so I better wind up here. But I decided for Prince's Bridge just to walk straight across. I wasn't too worried about filming Federation Square because obviously that's a destination video, isn't it? So we'll do that on another day. But have a look at this. Have you ever seen a more empty space in a big capital city? Except for the pigeon. And there they are up on the board, by the way, and that became the thumbnail for one of the videos. Gee, it was so... The sky was so blue that day. And I couldn't figure out where to finish the video. And that's why I'm wandering around. I couldn't figure out where to finish the video, so I think it ends about here. So I'll say thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please leave some feedback. Please let me know what you think of the content, good or bad. I don't care if it's negative, as long as there's some engagement. But the other way I can tell by the engagement is the watch time is increasing week by week. I can see some patterns emerging, that there is some increases happening. And I thank the people that have been watching to this point, and I thank you for listening and watching. And we'll leave it there. I am the bloke who walks. This has been This Walking Life, Richmond Station to Rod Laver Arena, finishing up at Federation Square. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Welcome to This Walking Life. Today we're in Melbourne, Australia, and today, as a special treat, we have a pre-tournament Australian Open edition of This Walking Life. We'll be walking from accommodation at Arrow and Spencer Apartments to the home of the Australian Open, Melbourne Park. We'll be catching the 86 tram. We'll be getting the tram from Latrobe Street to Flinders Street, getting off at Flinders Street Station, changing at Flinders Street Station to the number 70 tram, which drops us off right at the doorstep of the Australian Open. And don't forget, if you're an international tourist or a tennis fan from any part of the world, don't forget that you can catch a free tram from the centre of Melbourne to the doorstep of the Australian Open at Melbourne Park. And if you can't get here in 2021, we'll be there for you so that you can enjoy the excitement, the tension and the competition at the 2021 Australian Open. Let's go. It's Waterman. Welcome to Project Melbourne Metro Underground Rail, the site of the new Parkville station. If you come with me, we'll start right away. Waterman, yes, I'm transport consultant to the government. It's my job to act as a liaison between STM, Asia Pacific and the government of Victoria and the Transport Minister in particular to advise on timelines and make sure that everything to do with the contract that's been awarded to this firm, that the timeline's being met. So it's my pleasure to welcome you today as a visitor and investor from interstate and overseas. We'll be taking a short tour of the site, so if you come with me, we'll start right now. That ends our tour for today. We hope you enjoyed this insight into the state government's preparations for how your investment money is being spent here at the site of the proposed new Parkville station as part of the Melbourne Metro Underground Rail project. My name's Waterman. If you have any more questions, you can contact me via the Victorian State Government Department of Transport, STM Asia Pacific Construction.